Hey G.I. Joe fans, Show Motion Videos 82 here. It's time for another G.I. Joe toy review. Today we will be looking at what is arguably a fan favorite. Just judging by the prices on eBay right now, he is clearly a fan favorite, especially in the Night Force variant. Of course, you mentioned Night Force and prices just shoot sky high. Any of those sub teams, I've noticed that the prices are sometimes ridiculous. Night Force, Special Missions, Brazil, anything of that nature, the prices tend to go up, especially if they were a Toys R Us release, exclusive Toys R Us, which made it a little more rare. The prices do tend to go up, and for good reason. Supply and demand, that lovely economic theory. So anyway, the figure that I will be reviewing today is Falcon version 1. Yes, Falcon. He is an awesome figure. Couple reasons. One is 87, they started getting kind of weird with some of their figures. They came out with Crystal Ball. Well, actually, I like Crystal Ball's pretty cool. When I get him, I will definitely review him because he's weird. That's why I like him, because he's just weird. Then the Raptor was another one. I like Raptor. He's weird too. They aren't. I'll discuss this more when I review these figures. They aren't quintessential G.I. Joe, but just the weird factor. I like strange things sometimes. So let's get into the review, huh? Falcon was first released, carded as a part of the 6 series in 1987. He sold through 1988 and was discontinued domestically in 1989. But what was interesting, outside several things about this figure, but the leftover Hasbro stock of this figure was packaged with new accessories and sold in the 1992 G.I. Joe convention. And if I knew that there were conventions, I didn't find out about these until 3 or 4 years ago. I would have been going to these, man, because they released some cool action figures at these conventions. Man, as much as a G.I. Joe fan as I thought I was, I didn't know about these conventions. So, que sera, sera, it's the last year. This year is the last year for JoeCon, and I hope I could make it. I hope. If not, I might send some money with some friends to buy me some of these convention releases. So, anyway, let's go into the review. Falcon came with some pretty cool accessories. When I look at those, I'll go into detail on those. But Falcon came in 2 variants. None of them, well, there were several variations or variants, but there were 2 variants of version 1. It had to do with this camouflage. The stripes are a little thicker on some and thinner on the others. Neither are more sought after by collectors, and neither of them are more rare. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get into the review, and I hope that my software is working. So let's go ahead and give this a try. I'm gonna pause this and let's get into the review. All right, so here he is. There's Lieutenant Falcon. Well, I want to talk briefly about the G.I. Joe command structure according to the 1987 G.I. Joe movie. First is General Hawk. Second is Warrant Officer Flint. Third, First Sergeant Duke. Oh, come on, Duke, stand up. You're supposed to be a first sergeant. Third, down the line, or I should say fourth, is Beachhead. And then Lieutenant Falcon, an officer, warrant officer, sergeant, lieutenant. I don't get it. He is an officer. He may be a junior officer, but an officer nonetheless. That movie was strange. Were they doing that to build up the sympathy factor of Lieutenant Falcon? They also made the man a buffoon. He was a gold brick. He was a lackey. He was slacking off and got Serpentor freed. The man is a Green Beret, highly disciplined, mentally tough, physically strong, free to oppressed. Green Beret. Those men do not slack off. I am sorry. That is one of many things I did not like about that movie. I have it on VHS, and I promise you down the road I will review it. But Lieutenant Falcon, he really rings home for me. Very special figure. I mentioned this in my quick look. My father served as a Green Beret in Vietnam. He served in the late 50s, early 60s. He served as an advisor. He was a Green Beret medic, just like Falcon. So this figure really holds a special place in my heart. But the accessories that I want to talk about real quick, besides the ones that come with Falcon, his convention exclusive was released with the same rifle that came with Shipwreck version 2, and he came with this flare gun, but it was in black. This flare gun is from Lifeline version 2. So let's go ahead and get into the accessories on Lieutenant Falcon. Sorry, I'm a little out of breath and asthma's flared up a bit today. Alright, so Falcon came with this really awesome backpack. Look at that. On the inside of the backpack, he has a radio where the antenna plugs into. He has 2 canteens. Very nicely sculpted backpack. Some of these backpacks are very nice. He has some rope, pouch on the side there, and this is something that G.I. Joe or Hasbro didn't do enough of. His knife, which is a survival type knife, a little serrated on the end there for sawing. Looks like he has there's a notch cut in there, I guess for opening cans, or a bottle opener, or seatbelt cutter, whatever you want to use it for. But the knife slots right into the back. I mean, that is a nice touch. Not a lot of the vintage figures came with that. You know, a few of the ninjas did, but they need to do this more. So the backpack is fantastic. Came with a gooseneck antenna, which just plugged right into the back. Now this is a bugger to find, this antenna right here. I looked this up on eBay, pardon me. The cheapest I seem to find it was $5.99 just for the antenna alone. So it's best to buy the figure complete if you can. He came with a pump action shotgun. There's a ridged sight on there. The shotgun pump came with a long pistol grip, which it looks kind of goofy, but it works with the figure. Now this looks like a Browning pump action shotgun. And the stock on there, a little padded on the back, that very nice detail, diamond grip. So he could hold it in two different ways. So, you know, like that, or like that. And I'm glad that they did the pistol grip on this. It doesn't look bad. I wish they would have done that with the Night Viper. You know, it's that he can't really hold his shotgun in a aesthetic way. So let's go ahead and take a look at Falcon here. He does have the synonymous green beret with a green beret flash. He has a Special Forces unit patch on his left arm. His sleeves are rolled up. He has his H harness, which is very nicely sculpted. Has a stiletto on his right side. Right here is his radio, or his hand mic. Looks like he has a detonator that's strapped on, and you can see right in there, that is awesome. Look, the nicely sculpted buckles, and this goes all the way around. It's his harness does, which lines up very nicely with the backpack, and it clips onto his web gear, his web belt. He does have some nice pouches sculpted on there. Nice little pouch there and there. Now he has the typical tiger stripe camo, which was used by Special Forces in Vietnam. He had a gooseneck flashlight that's sculpted on. He has some more pouches sculpted on, and then he has his canvas over leather jungle boots, and just a nice little feature. He has a bandana tied around his neck. Pretty nice, pretty nice. I like that. Nice, a little added touch. Now they did very well on the sculpting. Hasbro did. Oh, I failed to mention a watch on his left wrist, which would indicate he's probably right-handed. But he does have the articulation for its time. His arms do extend out to the side so far. His arms rotate 360 degrees. His elbows bend at a 90-degree angle. He has that fabulous swivel arm battle grip. His legs extend out to 90 degrees and bend at 90 degrees. His head was on a rocker post 1985, so it does go back and forth and side to side, and he has an O-ring on the inside which holds him together. Now, Falcon is a great figure. I really like him. So let's go ahead and take a look at his file card. Upper left hand corner, it says code name Falcon. He's a Green Beret. His file name is Falcone, ha ha ha, Lieutenant Falcon, I get it. Falcone Vincent R, serial number 053 or 035382264, primary military specialty infantry, secondary military specialty medic, birthplace Fayetteville, North Carolina. Lieutenant, second paragraph read, oh, right here, he's grade 02 first lieutenant. So his middle paragraph reads, Lieutenant Falcon is a second generation Green Beret, his father having served with the 10th SFGA Special Forces Group Airborne from its beginnings at Fort Bragg's Smoke Bomb Hill. Falcon was cross-trained in demolitions and served briefly with the 5th SFGA Blue Light Counterterrorism Unit as an A-Team Executive Officer, or XO. He was proficient in Spanish, French, Arabic, Swahili, and qualified expert with most NATO and Warsaw Pact small arms. That is definitely the training you would expect out of a Special Forces officer and soldier. Bottom paragraph reads in quotes, Green Berets are specialists in training and leading native insurgents. Native insurgents are usually primitive tribal people who respond to 2 types of leadership. You can bully and overwhelm them with superior firepower and technology, or you can bite the head off a snake, chug-a-lug a local beverage, and yell, "Follow me." Falcon is a snake biter if I ever saw one, end quote. And I want to point out right here in the bottom, this says H1. I've learned just through collecting that H1, when you see that in the bottom of the file card, that is the 2nd generation file card. Since he first came out in '87, it wouldn't have had, the 1st generation wouldn't have said H1. But this one was more likely purchased in 1988 as the 2nd generation. Alrighty, sorry. Alright, sorry about all that. I won't cut that part out. Let's leave that in as a blooper. So I firmly concur with that file card. Going by the stories that my dad has shared, that they are trained in pretty much any weapon. They're trained to turn anything into a weapon. You could take an antenna, a radio antenna off of a car and use it to beat the snot out of somebody, or just anything. The Green Berets, all Special Forces are tough. In any nation, the Special Forces are tough. So if there are any vets out there watching this, thank you guys so very much for your service. In my opinion, you guys should have carte blanche in healthcare and any needs that you guys have for the sacrifices that you made, and your families, because they serve right along with you. So honestly, gentlemen, thank you, from the ladies and gentlemen, pardon me, from the bottom of my heart. Thank you all for your service. A nation wouldn't be here if it wasn't for our military service, and that's a plain and simple fact. So I want to just share something real quick. I picked this up at a thrift store. I love going to thrift stores. This is a G.I. Joe tackle box. Pretty cool, huh? Oh, I never had one as a kid. I remember seeing them at Sears. But the date stamp on the inside doesn't give a year, but it is cool. I mean, it has a roller on the top where you can measure your fish. I store my spare parts in this thing, so I just thought I'd share it with you guys. I paid $1.50 for it, and that was a bargain. So anyway, folks, if you want to purchase Lieutenant Falcon on the aftermarket, he's out there. I mean, he is out there in price. Night Force, I've seen him go complete from $45 to $75. That's not auction. That's not auction. Sometimes you can get really good deals on auctions. That's how I ended up getting him complete with Falcon.